The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to this morning's role play session with the world famous Craig Proctor.
Wow, world famous. I like that. I said to Andrea, Andrea, give me a worthy introduction, and she did. Okay, so you've built up my confidence today, and I'm ready to take on all of our excellent members as they role play with me, and I'm going to be the prospect, and they're going to play themselves, and we're going to take some volunteers, and we're going to get right into this. No messing around today. So if you'd like to volunteer to role play with me, I will be any type of prospect that you would like me to be. I'll be a buyer or a seller. In fact, you can even specify what type of information that I requested. So you might say, well, Craig, you're a buyer, and you requested the fixer-upper, a list of fixer-uppers, or a list of distress sales, or you're a seller prospect and you requested an area home sales report or an online home evaluation, or you requested a special report on how to avoid mistakes when selling. So that's the game we're going to play today, as we play every Thursday. I am going to throw some common objections at you. I'll try not to be too tough, but I'm going to throw you some common objections because I want this to be real. Okay, I want this to be real, so I'm going to be a little tough once in a while. With purpose, right? I want to show you how to handle these objections. This script is really not that difficult if we can get you guys to actually believe in it and internalize it. It's a little goofy when you first start to use it because, let's face it, these are my words, not your words. But as you start to understand the idea behind the script and you become comfortable with it, within a very short amount of time, you take ownership of this. This becomes your script, not Craig's words. They become your words. So, Andrea, do we have our first volunteer?
We do. We have Daniel Pilson. Your mic is now open. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I thank you. I didn't realize I was up there. Okay, I'm calling in reference to the time for the advertisement for townhomes here in the South Bay in California, and you're referring back to my ad. And nice meeting you, Mr. Smith.
Okay, well, I'll be Mr. Proctor, and
Okay.
The phone's going to ring, and let's start now. I say hello.
Hi, this is Dan Pilson from Sherwood Realty, and I'm calling about the ad you responded to about townhomes in the South Bay.
Okay, first of all, I wouldn't say ad. That's got a negative connotation. I would just say I received your request for the list of whatever I requested, and I just wanted to let you know I've sent the information out. So let's start over again. Ring.
Okay. Hi, Craig. I received your ad. I received your request for information for townhomes in the South Bay.
Who are you?
I'm Dan Pilson from Sherwood Realty over here in the South Bay.
Okay, thank you.
And are you planning a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
We are talking about it.
Okay. And are you aware that we have a special program that if you're wanting to move up, we will guarantee that we will purchase your existing residence if you decide to move up.
Where is that in the script?
It's not. Sorry, it's not.
So it's Dan or Daniel?
Dan is fine.
Okay, Dan, you haven't asked me one qualifying question yet. You haven't asked me if I'm staying in the area or moving out of the area. You haven't even asked me if I have a realtor.
Right.
You haven't asked me any qualifying questions. So okay, yeah, well, come on over and buy my house.
Okay. Well, okay. So I guess you own. Are you planning to stay in the area or move out of the area?
Well, I'm renting right now, so how are you going to buy my house?
Okay, well...
You haven't asked me any questions yet.
Okay. If you were to move, when do you think that might be?
Well, if we do something, it'll probably be before Christmas.
Okay, and are you working with a realtor at this point?
Yeah, we have somebody we know in the family.
Okay, are you totally committed?
I don't know if we're 100% committed. It's the only realtor we know.
Uh, because if you, I can show you a way to convert your rent into probably a nice home.
Okay.
And would you be interested?
Well, he's talked to us. This other agent talked to us about, how we can stop renting and own a home as well. I mean, that's the idea.
Okay. Can I interest you in the fact that we give that part of our just now for the next 30 days, part of our promotion is to give away a free iPad.
Okay. Dan.
Yeah.
Do you have the script in front of you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you notice how you're not following anything on the script?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am.
So here's the crazy thing about this. You're paying me a lot of money to not use what I'm giving you.
Right.
Okay. Now, what you're doing is you're kind of floundering from one offer to the next offer to the next offer, and you're hoping that I bite on one of yours. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying, you know what? That's what I used to do. 20 years ago when I got in this business, that's what I used to do. And sometimes the words that came out of my mouth, sometimes it worked. Sometimes I get lucky, and these random offers that I would make, sometimes the buyer, seller, prospect would say, yeah, I want that. But most often it didn't work. So I wanted to come up with a structured way of qualifying the prospect, really determining their motivation and timing, and then I would understand what would be the best offer to make them after I had that information. So you're not asking the qualifying questions. You're not really learning anything about my motivation and timing. You're making the offers before you decide really what would be the best offer to make me.
Right.
Okay, so let's try it one more time, but do you have the script in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, now watch how easy this is. And this is probably against every fiber in your body. Just read the script.
Okay.
Okay, just read it. Now, it'll sound like you're reading it initially, but as you internalize it, it won't sound like you're reading it, okay? So I would rather you call the prospects back, even if it sounds like you're reading the script, rather than doing what you're doing right now.
Okay.
Okay, so ring.
Hi, Mr. Proctor. This is Dan Pilson calling with Sherwood Realty, and the reason I'm calling is because we requested some information about townhomes. Is this okay? Is that okay if I send it to you in the mail?
Yeah, thank you.
And are you planning to make a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah.
Do you currently rent or do you own a home?
We rent right now.
Okay. Are you planning to stay in the area or move away from this area?
Yeah, we want to stay in the same area. We don't want to pull the kids out of the school they're in. They like it.
Okay. And if you were to move, when do you think that might be?
We probably would want to do something before Christmas.
Do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
You know, Dan, the only realtor we know is there's a family friend that's a realtor. It's the only person we know in real estate.
Okay. Would it be okay if I followed up with you at a later time?
Hey, hang on. Why do you want to follow up with me? I didn't say I wouldn't meet with you now.
Okay, right.
Right? You're inventing that. You're the one that's pushing yourself away.
Okay.
Okay, so you said, do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right? And I said, well, the only person we know is we have this family friend. That's when you should come back and say, well, are you 100% committed to that realtor?
Okay, right.
No, if I say yes, you're probably going to say, thanks and have a nice day. But in most cases, they're not. We just assume they are. What if I say, well, Dan, I'm not 100% committed. As I said, it's the only realtor we know.
Right.
Now what?
Okay, are you 100% committed to the realtor you're working with?
Well, like I said, it's the only person we know in real estate. I wouldn't say we're 100% committed. It's just the only person we know in real estate.
Okay, would you be interested if I could send you information about the townhomes in your area?
Yeah, I thought you were doing that.
I am, but I'm talking about maybe meeting with you. Would that be a good idea?
Okay, no, don't talk about meeting yet. Meeting means commitment. Right now, what you must do, Dan, is you need to differentiate between the list that you just sent me, versus your offer, and this is how you differentiate it. Okay, so I would flip it around and say this. Now, Dan, what I sent you is a one-time snapshot of fixer-upper properties that match your criteria. What I would like to do, with your permission, is email you daily updates of all the homes that match your home buying criteria from all the different real estate companies. Our list includes any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distress sales. It's a free service. You're never obligated to buy a home. Do you think that would interest you?
Yes.
When could we get together for about 20 minutes then so I can take down exactly what you're looking for?
I'd have to check with my wife.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we at least set up a tentative time, Dan? And if that time doesn't work with your wife, you can call me back and we'll change the time. What's better for you tentatively, days or evenings?
Evenings is better.
Right. Well, how about tomorrow night at 7 p.m.?
Okay, I'll check with my wife. That sounds like it might be okay, though.
Okay, now do you see how easy this is when we just follow the script?
Yes.
You're making this way more difficult. By the way, when I said, hey, Dan, just read it, I think everyone on the call will agree. You might want to type in your chat response to this, but did Dan sound better and more organized with his thoughts when he was just reading the script versus when you were winging it? And the answer overwhelmingly will be, and you sounded natural. You didn't sound like you were reading.
I did feel a lot more comfortable. Yes, I did feel much more comfortable.
Okay, so look, you've got some practice to do. Here's what I'm going to recommend, Dan. Record yourself making the calls.
Okay.
Just have a little tape recorder. You can use your phone. If you've got a smartphone, you can just record yourself making. It's for no other use than you just to listen to what you're doing, and you'll hear some really good things you do, and you'll hear some things that you need to improve.
Okay.
And make sure you attend every one of our role play webinars, because you're also going to improve by listening to me role play with other members as well.
Okay. No, that's great. I appreciate it, and I definitely feel a lot more comfortable right now.
Well, look, you're not the only one, and you've got the courage. You're brave enough to step up to the plate here. You're not the only person that is going to have a bit of difficulty getting their head around this. Okay, that's why we do this every single week. At the Super Conference, you may remember me saying this is the Achilles heel that our members have. Generating leads is the easy part, but understanding what to say and what to do in following up with those leads is the part that we all need to master. So I want to thank you for role playing, and let's go back to Andrea and see who's next.
Okay, thanks.
Our next guest is Philip Doyen. Your mic is open. Philip, go ahead and unmute on your end by hitting the red mic button.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, Philippe, what is happening? What is happening, Philippe? Can you hear me, Philippe? Okay, Andrea, I can hear Philippe. I don't think he can hear me.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right, we're going to have to move on. Andrea, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, well, I think we have a problem with Philippe, so we must move on.
I do. I'm sorry. I believe I was talking to you and my mic was muted. I apologize for that. We have Colleen Moore. Your telephone line is open.
Oh, it's David. David Moore.
Go ahead, David.
I was going to say, Colleen's got a bit of a deep voice there. Good morning, David.
You like that? Yeah, it's a little deep. You're right.
So do you go by Dave or David?
Either one.
All right, we'll be informal. So Dave, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
What type of prospect would you like me to be, a buyer or a seller? Like, what did I respond to?
Right now, I think a buyer. That's what I've been doing the ads with.
Okay, and what information did I request of you?
You requested me the distressed properties.
Okay, excellent. So you're calling me, ring, ring.
Oh, I'm calling, okay. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Or is it, I'm sorry, what name am I using? I didn't even think of a name.
Probably, let's just use mine. How about we just use mine? Okay.
Let's go. Okay, ring, ring. Hello, is this Craig Proctor?
It is.
This is Dave Moore. The reason I'm calling you is because I received your request for information that you wanted, and I have emailed that I have popped that information in the mail to you today. Is that okay?
Okay, let's stop there for a second. Okay, here's some advice for everybody. If you're getting caught up on whether you, like I had my assistant send out the information, so sometimes she would email it and sometimes she would mail it. So Dave, if the prospect left their message on my hotline, I wouldn't have the prospect's email address. We would mail it out. If they visited my website and I had their email address, I would email the information out. If you want to make it real easy on yourself, let's just replace that with I sent the information or I'm about to send the information. That way you don't have to worry about whether you're emailing it or mailing it. Just use I'm about to send it or I've sent the information out. So let's start over again. Ring, ring, and I say hello.
Is this Craig Proctor?
Speaking.
This is Dave Moore. The reason I'm calling because I've received your request for information you wanted, and I've sent that to you in the mail. Is that okay?
Okay, well, you just did the same thing. Just say you sent the information out to me. You don't have to worry about the mail. And Dave, it would be helpful.
I'm reading the script. That's why.
Right,
okay.
right. So I'm telling you stumbled on that. So if that's gonna mess you up, thinking, okay, well, I don't know. Did Colleen and I did we mail it out? Did we email it? I can't remember. Just make it easy and replace it with, hey. Here, I'll do the intro for you. Hey, Dave, Craig Proctor here with ABC Realty. Just wanted to let you know I received your request for the bank foreclosures and distress sales. Just wanted to let you know I've sent that information out to you, and I wondered if you folks were planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months. See how easy that is?
Right.
Okay, now, the other thing is you didn't specify the information. You're saying, well, we sent the information out. Now, I know the script says we sent you the information, but since you know what the information was, you could be more specific.
Okay.
Okay, so if you can't remember what you sent them, but I mean, you should know. You're looking at your contact management system. You see my name. You know I requested the distress sales. So why be general and say we sent you the information versus we received your request for the distress sale information? Okay, so let's go past this now. Now we're into the qualifying questions.
Okay.
So you're going to qualify me.
Okay. I said, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, we are thinking about it.
Do you currently rent or do you own your own home?
We own.
You own. Are you planning on staying in the area or moving out of the area?
We want to stay in the area.
Would you prefer to buy before you list your home, or do you want to sell first?
I think we'd probably want to get our home sold before we get too excited about another property.
Okay. If you were to move, when do you think that might be?
We'd probably want to, start thinking about doing something later this year or early in the new year.
Okay. Right now, do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
Well, there's a lady that works with my wife, and her husband is a part-time realtor. So we were thinking of meeting with him just because of the relationship with my wife and his wife.
So are you already committed to that realtor, or are you just going to meet with him?
Yeah, we're just going to meet with him. I've never met the guy before, so yeah. I mean, you asked me if we knew anybody. That's the only guy we know.
Okay. Well, here's what I'd like to do. Would you like me to email you?
Okay, hang on. You haven't asked me yet if I would be open to meeting with you.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Okay.
I would at least say this. I would say, there's a tremendous difference between real estate agents and what they do. Do you think you might be open to meeting with other realtors as well? You're not necessarily saying you, but you're kind of feeling them out as to, well, are they open-minded? And I'm trying to, not sound too committed to this realtor. Okay, so you should be picking up on that vibe that I'm only meeting with this guy because my wife and the other realtor's wife work together. Okay, so now you're feeling, okay, this is someone that wants to move. The guy says he wants to sell before he buys. Okay, he's not 100% committed to the realtor. I'm going to do something either later this year. I mean, heck, we're already into October, and I want to sell before I buy. What would you like to do with a guy like me? Like, where are we going to go with this?
Well, I would like to meet with you is what I'd like to do.
Okay, now what offer, though? There's two offers at the bottom of the script. Which offer, based on how I've answered your questions, should you be making to me?
To email you the daily updates.
No, not at all. Not at all. You asked me if I was a buy first guy or a sell first guy, right? You said, would you prefer to buy or sell first? And I said, I'd want to know my house is sold before I get too excited and start going out there looking at property. So I'm a sell first guy. You see, the reason we asked the question, are you a sell first guy or a buy first guy, is we want to know the answer, so we're making the appropriate offer. Because if you go down to that, look, if you go down to that buy first offer, you might make a tremendous offer. I mean, you might knock that offer right out of the park. It's a great offer, but if that's not where the prospect's head's at, right? If no matter how delicious you make this buy first offer sound, if I'm the kind of guy that really wants to get his house listed for sale and up for sale before I start, getting excited about other properties, your offer, as good as you made it, will fall on deaf ears. So, because he's a sell first guy, right? Now, and the reason I share this with you guys is this is exactly the mistake I made for years. I would guess. I would forget to ask that very important question. Dave, do you prefer to buy before getting your home up for sale, or would you prefer to get your home up for sale before you go out there and look at other properties? Sometimes they say, hell, I don't even want to look at any properties until I get my home on the market. But because I didn't ask the question, I would simply guess. I would assume, well, the guy, Dave's requesting buyer information, so I should just go ahead and make the buyer offer, when if we would only stop and ask the question, the prospect will tell us which offer to make to them. And in this case, when you asked me the question, I said, I'm a sell first guy. I don't want to get excited about another property, I said, until I get my home on the market. So now that tells you I got to go to the bottom right-hand corner, and I've got to offer this prospect what the prospect wants, not what I think they want.
Okay.
All right, so offer away.
Would you like to get? Okay, wait a minute. I lost where we were. Okay, so I know you're going to sell first. You're not committed to the realtor. So here's what I'd like to do. I would like to send you a free market evaluation to determine.
Not send me. Not send me. Read what it says there in the bottom. You don't want to send me. You want to come to my house.
Would you like a free market evaluation to determine what your home would sell for? Also, I can give you some tips on what to do and what not to do to sell your home for the most amount of money. And we can go over all the various closing costs you will incur, so you will know exactly what you'll have left in your pocket after all the expenses. So free of charge and obligates you to nothing. Does that sound helpful?
Well, Dave, you did articulate the offer, but I think everyone with us here today will agree that was kind of robotic.
Right.
Like there was no question you're reading it. You ever get a phone call from the telemarketer and it's annoying because the telemarketer doesn't even know their script, they're just reading it? Right. Right, and you probably want to hang up on the telemarketer. So let's try it again, but I want you to believe in the offer. I want you to become, if you're not excited about this, how are you going to get anyone else excited about this? Watch me communicate this offer to you. Hey, Dave, would you like a free market evaluation to determine what your home would sell for? Also, I can give you some tips on what to do and what not to do to sell your home for the most amount of money, and we can go over all the closing costs you're going to incur so you'll know exactly what you're going to net in your pocket after all the expenses. It's absolutely free of charge, and you're never obligated to do anything. Does that sound like it might be helpful?
Okay, yes.
Okay, now, why does this offer work? If we simply offered the seller an evaluation of their home, that's a pretty weak offer. That's a lame offer. Many sellers today would say to you, hey, Dave, thanks but no thanks. I already know what my house is worth. In fact, we would all agree that many of the sellers today know more about what's going on in their neighborhood than we do because of all this online access that they have. So we can't stop there. Now, in 1988, when I first got into real estate, that was a sufficient offer because home sellers didn't have access to all the recent home sales and current listings. So that's all the offer had to be was, hey, really in 1988, this is what I could say to you. Hey, Dave, I'm a purveyor of secret information that you don't have, and if you want to know what your property is worth, you have to let me come over to see you. Okay? Really, that's how it worked back then, right? But today, you know, you've talked to sellers before, right? We all know that we've talked to sellers before, and we've said, hey, do you want to know what your house is worth? And they're polite. They say, thanks, but no thanks. I already know what my house is worth. I already have a pretty good idea. So that's why I was forced to spice the offer up. Here's the way I look at it, Dave. There's no way that any seller knows all of this. Okay, we're going to suggest to them we can give them a really super accurate assessment of what their house is worth by looking at it. Now, it is true, right, that if we actually looked at their home, we could give them a more accurate assessment than just talking about it over the phone. And the next part of the offer talks about also I can give you tips or suggestions on what to do and what not to do to sell your home for the most amount of money. Now, that also does require that we have to be at their home, right? We can't give them advice on what to do and what not to do to prepare their home for sale without looking at it. So that requires us being in their house, which is what we want to do. And aren't they always concerned about the commission and the costs? So that's the other thing that we're going to offer them. We can go through a net sheet, discuss all of the costs that you're going to incur and what you're going to net, when the dust settles, what you're going to have left in your pocket, which is important, of course. If you're buying another property, you need to know what you're going to have what you're going to net in your pocket after all the expenses. And then we're going to remind them all of this is free. It's free. You're never obligated to do anything. It's free of charge. There's no obligation. Does it sound like it will be helpful? Now, how many home sellers would say, hey, Dave, I don't even think that would be helpful at all? Knowing exactly what my house is worth and knowing exactly what I should do and what I shouldn't do and knowing all the costs associated with the sale of my house and what I'm going to net in my pocket, no, I don't think that would be helpful at all. You're not going to hear that. If you articulate this offer properly, 90% of the time, they're going to say, yes, I want it.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't make a seller meet with us, nor can we make a buyer meet with us. We have to use the words that come out of our mouth. This offer that we make has to be so compelling that the prospect that hears it says, I want Dave to come over to my house. So you've got to practice that offer because that's a little rough, right? I mean, you were reading it, and it sounds like, it kind of sounded to me like you've never read it before. This was the first time.
So, yeah.
Okay, so that's your homework.
All right.
Okay, and we're going to keep practicing this over and over and over again until we all get it down and we sound like experts on the phone. So Dave, thanks for volunteering. We'll go back to Andrea. Sue's next.
Okay, Philip was able to answer or dial in on the telephone. Philip, go ahead.
Can you hear me, guys?
Hey, Philippe, how you doing?
Oh, just great, just great.
Okay, hey, Philippe.
Tremendous. Yeah.
I'm glad you called in. Can I tell you why I'm glad you called in?
Yes.
Okay, so Philippe has, for those of you that are new with the coaching program, Philippe is in Montreal, Canada, and Philippe, you've been involved with the program for how long now? Don't tell me we've lost him again.
Philippe? Oh, we did. Unfortunately, it looks like we lost his connection.
What I was going to say is everyone's going to have the joy of listening to Philippe, who's been involved with this for a number of years. We're going to hear what an expert sounds using the universal callback script, but I guess that's not going to happen right now because he got disconnected again. Okay, so let's move on to another role play, and then Andrea, after this role play, I would like you to ask me some of the questions that are in the chat. So if you have questions or comments on what we've discussed so far, now's the time to type those into the chat, and Andrea will pick some of those right after our next role play, and I will answer those questions. So who's next, Andrea?
Our next role play is Austin Goodale. Your telephone line is open.
Good morning, Austin here.
Austin, my good friend from Scottsdale, how are you this morning?
Hi, Craig. It's Lynn Goodale, too.
And
We are
and
right
Lynn.
to deserve.
Hi.
And Austin, what did I say about Lynn? I said that Lynn's worst day ever is probably better than most people's best day. She's always in a great mood. So,
Greg, you nailed that one to the T.
yeah. Well, Lynn, we have our customer service rep, our customer service manager at the office is Anna. Have you ever spoken to Anna before?
Yes, I have, Craig.
Now you must love Anna because her personality is just like yours. She's always in a great mood. I don't think I've ever in all these years seen Anna in a bad mood. She's always happy and excited about things. So you two would just hit it off nicely.
She's delightful, Anna.
So what kind of role play? What kind of role play do you want to do here today?
The seller.
All right, and is it going to be Austin or Lynn?
Austin, you go.
All right, she volunteered me.
And I'll do next.
Okay, it looks like you've been recruited, Austin. What type of prospect do you want me to be, Austin? What did I request of you?
Let's say you were a bold lead seller.
Got it.
That you
Oh,
kept on.
all right, so I requested an evaluation of what my house is worth, and you're calling me ring ring.
Right. Good morning. Is Mr. Proctor there, please?
Speaking.
Good morning, Mr. Proctor. My name is Austin Goodell with JK Realty. The reason I'm calling is I received your request for information on your home on Elm Street, and I've popped that in the mail to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Were you guys planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
We have been discussing it.
All right. And if you were to move, would you be staying in the area or moving out of the area?
Yeah, we want to stay in this area, or maybe our circle of interest would be within 15 miles of where we currently live.
Oh. And when do you think that might be?
We're thinking the spring.
Okay. Do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
The only realtor we know is the guy that sold us this place.
Okay. Have you kept in contact with him?
He sends us a calendar every year.
All right. Well, let me ask you, would you prefer to buy before listing your home for sale, or do you want to sell first?
That's a good question. I think we'd probably want to look around. I mean, we don't have our gun to our head about, moving. We'd have to find something that I guess excites us before we pull the trigger on this.
All right. Well, let me ask you, would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all the real estate companies? My list includes bank foreclosures, owned properties, and other distress sales. It's a free service, and you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that be of interest to you?
Well, we just go online. We go to Realtor.com. We look at some of the sites, so I think we're getting that information.
Okay. Well, I don't know what information you're receiving, but most of those online websites offer information that's been available in the market for several days, sometimes even weeks. Those properties typically are information may not be current. What I'm offering to send you are daily updates of homes as soon as they hit the market before other buyers see them. Would that be of interest to you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to miss out on anything.
All right. Well, when can we get together for about 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for?
Well, can I just tell you over the phone, Austin, what we're looking for?
Well, Mr. Proctor, I want to do a really good job for you, and I have a form that I fill out, and if we could just get together for about 20 minutes, I can take down exactly your criteria. Are days or evenings better for you?
It'd have to be in the evenings.
All right. Are you available this evening, or would tomorrow work better for you?
Well, I'm available, but my wife wouldn't be. So we could, you could just meet with me.
Well, I think probably she's going to have questions as well, and I'd like for her to be able to hear that information and have input in it as well. When would be the earliest time that she might be available at the same time you are?
Well, we could probably do maybe Saturday morning.
All right, that'd be fine. What time?
Say 10 a.m.
Okay, let's do Saturday at 10 o'clock. I'll go ahead and send you an email confirming, and it'll have my office number, and we can meet there. We've got a lot of information I can provide to you, and we'll get set up for that home search. And I'll go ahead and send that email out. Mr. Proctor, it's good talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So it's easy, right? Now, Austin, I was easy on you. I didn't hardly give you any objections, but what if I said this, Austin? What if I said, Austin? So when we meet, when we get together, do I have to sign anything?
No, absolutely not. In fact, leave your checkbook home. There's no obligation. You're never obligated to buy a home. This is a free service that we run, and we want to provide that information to you to make your home buying experience easy and hassle-free.
Okay, did everybody get that? Sometimes the buyer will say, well, when I meet with you, do I have to sign anything? Now, does the buyer have to sign anything? No, but nor do Austin and Lynn have to continue working with that buyer should they not be agreeable to signing the buyer agency agreement. So it's not a lie when we say, no, you're not obligated to sign anything. It's the truth. They're not obligated to, but we're also not obligated to continue that relationship unless the buyer does commit to us in the form of an exclusive buyer agency agreement. All right, Austin and Lynn, great job. Thank you for volunteering. We'll go back to our wonderful operator, Andrea, since you gave me such a wonderful intro there, Andrea.
Thank you.
What questions and comments do we need to address at this point?
Well, we have a lot, so I'm going to start with Randy because he says, help please, in capital letters. It says, what is my compelling offer for a buyer prospect already searching homes on the website when I finally get them on the line?
All right, well, I don't know if Randy has a microphone or whether he's called in on the phone line, but if he's with us and can talk to us, Randy, raise your hand if that's possible, and we'll get you on the call here.
Randy,
okay, hi, Craig.
Go ahead.
Hi, Craig. This is Randy.
Okay, so Randy, share with everyone what's on your mind.
Well, I have a sync website as one of the websites that I have, and a lot of times the buyer will leave their information and start searching the website, but I am unable to get a hold of them on the phone, and I keep trying and trying. Well, when I finally get them on the phone, they may have been on my website for a month searching for properties. So I'm wondering what it is, what my compelling offer is going to be to them to make them want to get together with me.
Well, you've already answered the question. They've been on your website for a month and they haven't found a property. So I would use that. Hey, Randy, Craig Proctor here with the ABC Realty. Just wanted to follow up with you. I know you've been getting information, daily updates from us for over a month now, and it doesn't appear that you've found the perfect home. So I'd like to meet with you so I can take down exactly what you're looking for. That way, we'll only send you homes that are a perfect match, making sure that we don't overlook any properties that would be. When do you think would be a good time for us to meet, days or evenings? Like the very fact that they've been searching now for a month and they haven't bought a home, shouldn't that tell us, well, this isn't working? Right? If it was working, they would have found a house by now. So I would talk to them about, I want to do a good job for you. Obviously, the homes that we've sent you, we haven't found the right one yet. And by getting together with you, I could have the same great understanding that you have. See, the biggest fear that we want to play on with all buyers, would all of you agree that the biggest fear that buyers have is missing out on the perfect property? And we know that's true because that's why they're on 17 different. Because, Randy, they're getting these emails from your Commission Inc. site, but you know they're also on Realtor.com. They're on 5 other Realtors IDXs. They're grabbing the local paper. They're driving through the neighborhoods 3 times a day, writing down information from for sale signs. The reason they do all that is that's their biggest fear. So we've got to use that we've got to use that to our advantage. You've been getting information from us for a month. So you haven't found the right house. Why don't we get together? I can take down exactly what you're looking for, and this way we'll make sure that you're not missing out on the perfect property as well.
Okay, that's great. That's great. That's very, very logical.
Right. The longer they're getting information and they haven't bought something. Now, can I tell you something that would be easier in this situation, Randy? Is if you didn't wait a month. If you didn't wait a month. You see, the problem with waiting a month is, I think you've heard me say at the super conference before. Once the cat's out of the bag, or as my dad says, the cow is out of the barn, it's hard to get the cat back in the bag or the cow back in the barn. So once the buyer prospect, in this case, is used to getting absolute free information from you on a daily basis for a month, it's hard to reel that back in. So that's why that phone call should be made right away. As soon as they request the information, it would be easiest to do it then. And you can say, look, I want to do a good job for you. And that's a great way to start, by the way. When they're fighting you on as to why do we need to meet, the common sense answer is because, Randy, I want to do a good job for you. And there's not a buyer in the world that would disagree with that. Well, of course the agent could do a better job, and there's not a realtor in the world that would deny that fact. Of course, as realtors, we know we could do a much better job with the buyer if they would meet with us. And sometimes they'll say, well, hey, Randy, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I turn that around and I would say, Randy, I'm sure you do know exactly what you're looking for, but I want to have that same great understanding that you have. So if we can get together for about 15 minutes, I can take down exactly what you're looking for. That way, we won't be sending you dozens of homes that don't match what you're looking for. But, even worse would be missing out on the perfect property. Also, you could talk about homes that maybe they're not getting right now, homes that are not even on the market yet, homes that have recently expired, maybe new construction. So we've got to use this kind of language to really focus on this internal fear that they have that they're going to miss out on something. Because that's why they came to you in the first place. That's why when we talk to them, they're on 15 different websites, because that is their biggest fear. They don't want to miss out on a property that might be perfect for them.
Sure, and this is, I run into a number of people who have been on my website, have left me a phone number. I've tried to call them numerous times, and it just so happens that 2 or 3 or 4 weeks down the road, they finally answer their darn phone.
Okay, so let's talk about some techniques to reach people. Sometimes our new members are guilty of calling the same people on the same phone number at the same time of the day. So we don't want to do that. We want to call them at different times. What phone are you using to call the prospects back?
I use either my cell phone or my wife's cell phone, and I'll alternate between the two.
Okay. Have you tried, do you have a landline?
No.
Okay. Do you have a landline at your office?
Yes.
Okay, if you were to make a phone call from the landline at the office, what would the caller ID say if you called yourself from your office?
It would say no caller ID.
Okay, I would experiment with that. Now, also a technique that worked for me is I would call them at all different times of the day, because we don't know, they could be shift workers, and you call, it goes to voicemail, you call them right back again, and sometimes they answer. Now, if you know their address, sometimes you know their address, right, their physical address, you can go to 411.com, you know their name, you know their address, and sometimes you can get a landline phone number for them, because you might only have their cell phone.
Right.
So these are some other techniques that you can use. No question, it's harder than ever to get a hold of people, so we got to be creative.
All right, thank you, Craig.
All right, thanks, Randy. Let's go back to Andrea, see who's next.
Okay, our next question. let's see, Larry, but he left. If you leave, I'm not going to ask the question, so we'll go to Marina. Says, I'm new to the program, having really good success in attracting leads from my ads. Can you please address what to do when the lead rushes you off the phone after they've heard the first couple of lines of the script, sometimes annoyed, sometimes not, saying they didn't think it was a marketing ploy and will barely let you continue on with a conversation?
Okay, sometimes I would get that as well. Where they're just not interested. As soon as you identify yourself as a real estate agent, I'm going to say the better you are at the script, okay, the less you will get of that. But even as good as I am with the script, every once in a while I would do that. So here's the answer. The answer is, yep, that's going to happen every once in a while. And that is why we all want to generate lots of leads. You see, we shouldn't be on the phone for longer than 3 minutes with any prospect. Whether it's a prospect that wants to get rid of us and they hang up on us, or we decide that they're not a good prospect for us, or whether it's someone that we can book a buyer or a listing appointment with, or whether it's someone we're going to follow up with. That's the idea of the script. Does everyone understand that we can't create motivation where motivation doesn't exist? If this prospect is not motivated in working with us or motivated to buy or sell a home, there's nothing that we can really do to create motivation where it doesn't exist. If they have a real estate agent, that's their brother-in-law or their best friend, there's nothing we're going to be able to do to pull them off of that commitment they have with the realtor. So the answer is we just want to find out as quickly as possible whether this prospect represents now business, future business, or no business at all. And sometimes it's no business at all. Next. Next. We just call the next lead. All right, Andrea. Speaking of next, let's go to our next question.
Okay, Hugo typed in, I asked the do you have a realtor question recently, and the prospect answered, my best friend is a real estate agent. I asked if he was 100% committed working with his friend, and he answered, I would never use him. He's a terrible real estate agent. Then he said he made the listing appointment right after, so that's more of a comment. So I guess even though he's your best friend, doesn't mean they're...
Right, that's I'm reading this. This is Hugo. So absolutely, Hugo. What happens is sometimes we surrender. You know, sometimes when we ask that question, will they have an agent? Yeah, the guy says, my best friend's a realtor. That doesn't mean they're open to using their best friend. In this case, Hugo's saying when he dug a little deeper, the prospect said, well, I would never use my best friend. He's my best friend. He's a realtor. Many of us would stop there and assume, well, you know, I guess there's no opportunity here. The guy says his best friend's a realtor. Hugo digs a little bit deeper, and the guy says, well, actually, I would never use him. And Hugo makes a listing appointment right there. All right, good point, Hugo. Let's see who's next.
Okay, Phil is asking, if the prospect requested an online home evaluation, how do we handle the intro?
Okay, don't remind them that this is supposed to be online. Okay, so here, I'm first going to show you what not to do. Here's what not to do. Hi, Andrea. This is Craig Proctor from ABC Realty, and the reason I'm calling is because you requested an online evaluation of your home, and I wanted to follow up and see if you folks were planning on making a move. Now, if I say that, I'm reminding the prospect that this is supposed to be done online. Andrea is probably going to say, okay, so like, why are you calling me? Right? It's supposed to be online, so, you know, just do that. So here's what we want to say. Hi, Andrea. Craig Proctor here from ABC Realty. The reason I'm calling is I received your request for the evaluation you wanted on your home, and I wondered if you folks were planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months. In other words, if Andrea says, well, no, we actually have no plans at moving at all. We got the assessment in from the county, and we just want to see, you know, we don't really agree with that, or we want to see how your evaluation lines up with the assessment from the county. We have no reason for moving, or you know, we're meeting with you know, our tax attorney, and he wanted to know what our house is worth. That's the only reason we wanted this information. We have no moving plans. We certainly want to know that right away before we invite ourselves over to look at their property. So the introduction is very important. Okay, did everybody get that? The prospect requested an online evaluation on their property. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean we need to remind them of that. So I would say, Andrea, Craig Proctor here from ABC Realty. I received your request for the evaluation you wanted on your property, and I wondered if you folks were planning on making a move the next 3 to 6 months. If Andrea says, yes, she is thinking of moving, and she answers the rest of the questions to my liking, meaning that she's going to be selling now, she wants to sell first, not buy first, she's not committed to an agent, I'm going to say, well, Andrea, it sounds like you're motivated to make a move. I could give you a much more accurate assessment of what your property is worth by having a look at it. Now, if Andrea wasn't motivated to sell the home, she probably doesn't want me to come to her home. But since Andrea is super motivated to sell her home, she probably does want an accurate assessment versus some loosey-goosey over-the-phone or online evaluation. So she's probably going to be interested in that offer because I'm interested in meeting with her. She's answered the questions properly, but Andrea is also going to be interested in meeting with me. Let's go to our next question.
Okay, hold on just one moment. From Leslie, do you have any recommendations for calling a home eval lead, but you finally get them on the phone 2 to 3 months after they've requested the information?
Okay, well, that's okay. I mean, not ideal, but not the end of the world if they haven't listed their home. I would say this, Andrea. So here we go. Hi, Andrea. Craig Proctor here with ABC Realty. About 3 months ago, you had requested an online evaluation of your property, and I'd emailed you out some recent home sales and current listings, and I just wanted to follow up with you folks to see if any more moving plans at all. See, better late than never, right? Is it what you're supposed to do? No, we're not supposed to wait 3 months to follow up with them, because what if Andrea, in fact, did list her house over the last 3 months? We'd be out of luck. But in this case, since Andrea hasn't, what changes? I just referenced the fact that I received your request 3 months ago, and because we're always sending out the information, right? We're always sending out the information when we get the request, regardless of whether we speak to the prospect or not. I can say with confidence, we sent you out the information 3 months ago, just wanted to follow up to see if you folks had any more moving plans. And then you go right through the script and you ask the exact same questions.
Okay,
Who's next?
Joseph, he typed in, does the script change at all if they respond to the VIP buyer service offer?
No, you see, the script never changes, really. That's why we call it a universal callback script. Now, when I say that, someone will try to, say, well, Craig, sometimes you change this word to that word. Look, if the idea behind the script doesn't change, you don't have to be enslaved to, use it word for word, but I would avoid making too many changes right now when you're new with this. If you're smarter than I, and you can make this script eventually work better than I've been able to make it work for 25 years, then, maybe in a few months you can make it better than me. But for right now, I'd like you to use the script. It works in every situation with very small tweaks to it. It doesn't matter whether it's a sign call. It doesn't matter whether it's an ad call. It doesn't matter whether it's a buyer that showed up at your open house last weekend. You're going to make a very slight change to the introduction, like this. Hi, Andrea. Craig Proctor here with ABC Realty, and I met you at the open house last Sunday. Just wanted to follow up with you to see if you folks had any moving plans. Hi, Andrea. Thank you for calling on my listing off the for sale sign at 123 Maple Street. Just got your message here at the office. Just wanted to follow up with you, and I wonder if you folks had any more moving plans. So it's the same process that we're taking the prospect through, irregardless of where we source the prospect. And that's what I think we all want, right? We want a standard procedure, a process that we take buyers through over and over again because it works. We don't want to deviate from something that works. This is why, McDonald's is successful. It doesn't matter what McDonald's in the country you go to. The process is the same. The food is the same. The food might not be great. In fact, the food's not great. Think about that. How did McDonald's pull that off? The most successful restaurant in the world, they serve more food to more people worldwide every single day. It's run by teenagers, not a professional manager in the place. The food's not even good. Why McDonald's works is because people know what to expect when they go there. In an out-of-control world, a world of chaos, you have control. When you go into McDonald's, you have control. Right? You feel like you have control because you know what to expect when you walk into the door. All right, let's see who's next.
Okay. Christy Thomas types in, she had to email a prospect the follow-up. She didn't have a phone number, so she integrated the buyer offer into an email. The prospect replied and said it's a busy time for him, but I could feel free to email him the listings. Now, he included his number, and what she wants to know is, should she go ahead and try to call him to reply to his objection?
Okay, I'm sorry, what was the objection?
The objection was that he was busy and just wanted her to email him the listings.
Okay, well, I'm still going to call anyway. I'm going to call back and I'm going to say, hi, Andrea, Craig Proctor here. Hey, I received your email and I know you're busy, so I'm going to reference that. But that's what's great about our service. It's perfect for busy people like you. I'm going to be emailing daily updates of homes that I've emailed you a one-time snapshot of homes that match your criteria. It's going to include fixer-uppers, bank foreclosures, distress sales, all the best deals. And I wonder if you folks now go right through the script. Everything's a segue to go through the script. The process is the same. If we agree that we're asking the right questions in the right order, if this is the best way to do it, and that's how this thing was developed, right? I worked and worked and worked on the questions to ask, what is the right order, I tweaked this, I tested it, I played around with it, until when? Until I couldn't make the thing work any better. Well, if I can't make it any better, I thought, I should just do it this way every single time. Doesn't matter where the lead is sourced. If we agree these are the perfect questions to ask and the perfect order to ask those questions in, then we want this process to happen every time. And if you have team members, if you have other licensed or unlicensed people working on your team, you want them all doing it this way. And we're going to keep doing it this way until somebody can figure out a better way to do it. And if somebody can figure out a better way to do it, we're all going to start to do it that way. But until then, we're going to use this.
Okay, I thought since we're nearing the top of the hour, we can move to another role play because Philip was able to enter his phone. So we're going to try one more time with Philippe.
All right, Philippe, three strikes and you're out. So let's give him one more shot.
Good luck. Go ahead.
Am I on? Am I on, guys?
Yeah, Philippe, you've been on every single time, but you perhaps can't hear us.
No, I can hear you fine now.
Okay, so we're good to go. Now, Philippe, I gave you an outstanding intro a few minutes ago. I said that you're excellent at the script. I've explained to everybody you've been with the program for a number of years, so everyone is in anticipation because they want to hear what a true pro sounds like, a veteran with the universal callback script. So are you ready Are you ready to live up to this?
Sure. No sweat.
Okay. What kind of prospect would you like me to be?
Seller prospect.
What did I request from you, Philippe?
11 inspection traps report, editorial ad.
Okay, did everybody get that? I responded to an editorial, like a news-looking ad that Philippe was running probably in the newspaper, offering 11 costly home inspections to be aware of before listing your home for sale. So ring, ring, Philippe is calling me back.
Ring, ring, hello.
Hello.
Hey, hello, Craig. Yeah, can I speak with Mr. Proctor, please?
This is his wife.
Yeah, Mrs. Proctor. Is Mr. Proctor there?
No, he's not in right now. Can I take a message?
Yeah, this is Philippe with Group Mackay, and the reason I'm calling is because I received your husband's request for the 11 inspection traps to avoid when you're selling your Rosemont home, and I just wanted to let you know that I popped it in the mail. Is that okay?
Yeah, I know my husband and I had discussed moving. I didn't know he had contacted a realtor.
Yes, he did, but are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, we're going to do something probably within the next couple months.
And if you were to move, would you be staying local or would you be moving out of Rosemont?
We want to stay right here in the area.
And do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right, Mrs. Proctor?
We've got 2 realtors that we were going to meet with. That
And
they sell a lot of they sell a lot of houses here in the area.
Yes, but you know there's a tremendous difference between realtors and what they're going to do to help you sell your house and how much they're going to charge for you to do the job. Would you be open to meeting with another realtor at least?
Yeah, I guess there is a difference between agents and what they do and how much they charge. Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess we'd be open to meeting with you as well.
Tell me, Mrs. Proctor, would you prefer to buy before listing your home, or do you want to sell first?
We'd want to look around first before we put our home up for sale.
Okay, well, would you like me to email you daily updates of all the homes that match your home buying criteria? My list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and other distressed sales. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy. Do you think that would be helpful?
Well, one of the other 2 agents is already sending us that information. They're already emailing us the homes for sale.
Well, I don't know what the other agent is sending you, but my list includes bank foreclosures, distressed sales, company-owned properties, properties that are not on the market yet, and properties that have expired. Would you be interested in getting that list too?
Perfect. That was perfect, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to miss out on any. So you said it's free, and
yes,
yeah,
it is.
Okay, I don't want to. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take the free list.
When would be a good time for us to get together for about 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for? Would you prefer days or evenings?
Well, can I just tell you over the phone what I'm looking for?
Well, I want to do a good job for you and your husband. So if I could get a good feel of what you're looking for, instead of sending you dozens of properties that might or might not match your home buying criteria, on worse, missing out on the perfect one, if I get a good feel of what you're looking for, then the risk of missing out on the perfect home is non-existent. So what would work best for you, days or evenings, Mrs. Proctor?
Yeah, well, we don't want to miss out on any for sure. Okay, yeah, I'm interested in getting the list. Now, can you just meet with me, or does my husband need to be there as well?
Well, I think it's important that your husband gives me his input on what he's looking for on the next home. So to do a good job for you, it would be preferable to meet with both of you at the same time.
Okay, well, look, I don't know my husband's schedule, so I've got your contact information here, Philippe. Why don't I talk to my husband, and then I'll call you back when I know a good time.
Well, that sounds good, but I've got a better idea. Since I've got you on the phone, why don't we set up a tentative appointment? And if it doesn't work for you, you can give me a call and we can reschedule. How's that?
Yeah, I guess that could work. All right, so how about Saturday morning at 11 a.m.?
Okay, I'll just confirm your address. I'll send you an email, and I'll see you Saturday at 11. By the way, I'm also going to have a look at your property, and I'll give you tips on what to do and what not to do in today's market to improve the value of your home. And we can also go over all the various closing costs, so you'll know exactly how much you will have left in your pocket. And that, of course, is free, and there's no obligation. So I'll see you Saturday at 11 with your husband.
Okay, now when we meet with you, do we have to sign anything?
Like I said, there's no obligation. It's free. You have nothing that you're obligated to sign.
Okay, we'll see you Saturday morning.
All right, then. See you Saturday.
Okay, that was very good. And I'm going to break down some of the things that I really liked about what Philippe did. When he asked me if I was speaking to or had another realtor, I said there were 2 realtors that we were going to interview, 2 realtors that sell a lot of houses in the area. And he asked me if I was 100% committed to the realtors, and I said no. And Philippe said, you know, there's a tremendous difference between real estate agents, what they do, and how much they charge to get the job done. Do you think you might be open to meeting with me as well? And then when he offered me the free list of properties, I said, hey, that's okay. one of the other two agents is already emailing me the new properties that come on the market. Philippe said, well, I'm not sure what the other realtor's sending you, but my list, so he goes on to differentiate his list, my list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and distress sales. It's absolutely free of charge and you're under no obligation. Would you like to receive those properties as well? And the key is as well. You know, Philippe was never saying, well, you know, don't receive, you know, stop receiving the properties from the other agent. He didn't say that. He simply said, I'm not sure what the other agent's sending you. And that's the truth. We don't know what the other agent's sending. Philippe said, I don't know what the other agent's sending you. But my list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and distress sales. Would you like to get information on those as well? Well, guess what every buyer says? Well, hell, I don't want to miss out on anything. Yeah, okay, I'll take your list too. What's the buyer thinking? Well, you know, none of these agents' time. I mean, what's it to me? I'm already getting emails from one agent. Hey, doesn't hurt, right? I might as well get Philippe's list too. I don't want to miss out on anything. It's free. Why not? Okay. Now, once I say yes, Philippe goes and he makes the offer. Now, he asked me if I want to buy first or sell first. So Philippe knows I'm a buy first person, but do you notice how he also wrapped around the seller offer at the end? He said, when I get to your house, we're also going to, and he went through the seller offer. So he combined the two offers, which is awesome, but he led with the buyer offer. Why? Because he asked the prospect, you want to buy first or sell first? So you're always going to lead with the thing that's most important to the prospect. Okay, now I even threw another objection. I said, Philippe, does my husband need to be there? And Philippe said, yeah, it'd be better. And so that was my reason now, or excuse for not meeting with him. I said, well, Philippe, I've got your contact information. I don't know my husband's schedule. Okay, sometimes I'll say, well, I don't know my work schedule, or I don't know my husband's schedule, my wife's schedule, so I'll call you back. They're trying to use this. Well, we got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Are they sincere about wanting to meet with us, or are they insincere about wanting to meet with us, and they're just using this as an excuse? Well, Philippe says, well, let's find out. Philippe offers a very reasonable solution to this problem of, hey, I don't know my husband's schedule, by saying, well, look, we're both on the phone right now. Why don't we set up a tentative time to meet? And if you talk to your husband and that time doesn't work, just simply give me a call and we can change the time. So, Philippe, I'm going to give you an A, not an A+. And the reason I'm not going to give you an A+ is because nobody gets an A+. Good job, Philippe. Let's go back to Andrea and see if we have any questions or comments on that role play.
Okay, hold on just 1 second so I can sort my questions. We have, says, so if Philippe gets the appointment, what does he do first, his buyer presentation or the list of their criteria?
Well, you guys tell me. What do you think that Philippe should lead with? The question was, do you prefer, you know, really to buy first or sell first? That's why we're asking the question. That's the offer that we're going to lead with, and when we get to their home, we're going to lead with that offer. We're not going to guess. There's no guessing here. We're always going to ask the prospect, hey, are you a buy first prospect or are you a sell first? So would you prefer to look around and get excited about a property before you put your home up for sale, or would you prefer to get the for sale sign up on your front lawn before you run around and get excited about properties? We're going to ask them that question. Sometimes, they don't understand it. If you just say, would you prefer to buy first or sell first, sometimes you'll hear the prospect say, well, I guess we'd have to do both at the same time. That just means they don't understand the question. You're going to have to dig a bit deeper and say, I'd say, well, Andrea, what I mean by that is, would you prefer to, go out there and look around and get excited about a property before you put the for sale sign on your front lawn, or would you rather have the for sale sign on your front lawn and get some feedback on your property, get your home on the market, or even get it sold before you run around and start looking at properties? Because they'll tell you, if they understand what you're asking, they will actually tell you how to sell them. Isn't that smart? Like, we shouldn't be guessing how they want to be sold. If we ask the prospect, here's what they'll say. They'll say, Philippe, you should sell me this way. I'm someone that would like to look around first before I put my home on the market. So don't lead with the thing I don't want. Lead with the offer that is of interest to me. Again, this is a mistake I made early in my career. I didn't ask whether they were a buy first or sell first prospect. I would guess, and quite often I would guess incorrectly. And I would do a wonderful job communicating an offer that they weren't interested in. If the prospect's a buy first prospect, you can make the best seller offer in the world. But guess what? That's not where my head's at. I don't want to list my house yet. I don't want a realtor coming over to my home until I get excited about a property. So, you know, we can try all we want with the wrong offer. It's just simply going to fall on deaf ears. Rick Brash has typed in here, Philippe is very good at this because he does it repeatedly. Okay, no excuses. He learned the script in its entirety, and he internalized it. And look how well that has served him. Awesome. So some encouraging words there from Coach Rick Brash. All right, Andrea, let's take a few more questions.
Okay, we'll go with John. When do you get into the conversation with the buyer pre-approval before wasting your time meeting with them?
Before washing your time.
I read that wrong.
You see, you know, I really don't let you get away with anything, do I, Andrea?
You don't, and I'm working on that A+.
Okay, yeah, someday. Okay, so the question is, okay, Craig, what you've demonstrated today is you've demonstrated how you can book an appointment with a buyer, but the point that's being made here, well, what if we successfully book the appointment with the buyer and we get to the buyer's home, or it's a first-time buyer. The first-time buyers, I always want the first-time buyer to meet me at my office. It's an extra hoop that I purposely jump the first-time buyers through. Could I meet them at their apartment? I guess I could, but it's just my personal rules of engagement. It's an extra hoop I want the buyers to jump through, the first-time buyers. They must meet me at my office. So the question is, well, what if you set up this appointment at your office with this person that's renting and they can't qualify for a mortgage? Like, that would be a total waste of time setting up appointments with buyers that can't qualify for a mortgage. And I agree. So here's what we can do. By the way, if they own a home and they want to buy another house, I'm not concerned about that because most people have some equity in their house. I'm more concerned if they're first-time buyers. So here's how I would handle this. Andrea, if you were the first-time buyer, I would ask you all the questions in the script, and I would set up the appointment. So, Andrea, we'll see you at your house Saturday at 11 a.m. Now, Andrea, have you been pre-qualified? So the appointment's set. It's set. I'm coming over to Andrea's Saturday at 11 o'clock. And before I hang up the phone, I say, now, Andrea, have you been pre-qualified for financing? And if Andrea says yes, I would say, well, Andrea, when we get together at my office Saturday at 11, could you bring in your pre-qualification paperwork? But of course, in 90% of cases, the buyer says, well, no, I haven't been pre-qualified. Let's stop there for a minute. As realtors, would we agree that the entire process would run a lot smoother if the buyer would get pre-qualified right from the onset? The answer, of course, is yes. But there isn't a buyer in the world that's going to get pre-qualified until or unless they understand the benefit in doing so. So here's how I'm going to handle this. So Andrea, we're going to meet you at my office Saturday at 11 a.m. and I give Andrea all the directions to my office. And Andrea, have you been pre-qualified for financing, for a home loan? Okay, invariably the prospect says no. And I said, well, Andrea, if you're going to be home for a little bit this evening, I'd like to have my lender Bill give you a call. And my lender Bill can pre-qualify you absolutely free of charge for financing right over the telephone this evening. He'll help you get the lowest interest rates and the lowest down payment home loans. That way, when you and I meet at my office Saturday at 11 a.m., we're going to know exactly what price range you're in. So we won't waste time looking at homes above or below your price range. So Andrea, would it be okay if my lender, Bill, gave you a call this evening? Well, Andrea, what do you think?
Yes.
Thank you. Andrea says yes. So here's what happens. I hang up with Andrea. I call my lender, Bill. I go, hey, Bill, I just talked to this wonderful first-time buyer. Her name is Andrea. She's currently renting, and I'm supposed to be meeting with her at my office Saturday at 11 a.m. Could you give her a call and pre-qualify her over the phone? Bill says yes. Bill hangs up with me. He calls Andrea, and then he calls me back. Bill calls me back, and he either says, hey, Andrea's, she's good to go. She's got, combined family income is good. Credit history is good. Job stability is good. She should be a good buyer. Or Bill says, hey, you know what, Craig, you probably don't want to meet with Andrea on Saturday. She only makes $18,000 a year. She works part-time at Best Buy. She was bankrupt 2 years ago, and she's actually not renting. She's living at home with her parents. So now, how do I get out of this appointment? Okay, I'm going to call Andrea back and say, hey, Andrea, look, Craig Proctor here with ABC Realty. I just talked to my lender, Bill. It sounds like you've got some credit issues right now, and Bill's going to place you on a 6-month plan so we can get your credit in order. So I think it's best that we postpone our appointment for Saturday morning at 11 a.m. So here's the moral of the story. It's easier for us to book the appointments. Just book them all. Book all the appointments you can, book them all, and then have your lender call and pre-qualify them. It's easier to get rid of the appointments you don't want. Okay, so we're going to book all the appointments we can, and once the appointment's booked, then we're going to worry whether they can qualify or not by having our lender call them and qualify them. Now, is this different than the way that we're all taught to do it? Yes. Here's how I was taught to do it. I was taught that the first thing we do when we get a buyer on the phone is we go into financial qualification questions. So Andrea calls me off an ad call or a sign call, and I immediately say, Andrea, what's your credit history like? What's your combined family income? What's your job stability like? Let's agree, those are huge turnoffs to the buyer. Those are obtrusive questions. What's the old saying? We get more bees with honey. Let's not start our conversation with that. Let's try to get the appointment first with the idea it's easy to get rid of an appointment if they don't qualify. Let's assume they all qualify until our lender calls us back saying we can't help them. And then we can graciously get rid of the appointments we don't want. So I think you're going to like that explanation, and that's the way I'd recommend you all do it. That's the way I... Next question, please.
Okay. From Lewis, when I get to the seller or buyer's house, should I begin by reviewing what was agreed to on the phone in the phone conversation to establish agreement and set the plan?
Well, look, the reason the buyer prospect or the seller prospect is agreeing to meet with you is because you told them on the phone, if it's a buyer, that when we get together, I'm going to take down exactly what you're looking for. So you're going to lead with that. All buyers want to talk about what they're looking for, so it's an easy segue. So I get to Andrea's house. I say, Andrea, let's start off by talking about what you're looking for, and we're going to segue right into the presentation. I'm going to say, well, here's how we can best help you. I'll go right into that PowerPoint presentation. If Andrea was a seller, I'd say, well, let's have a look at the property because I'm here to give you an assessment on what the home would sell for and give you tips on what to do and what not to do. So we're going to take a look around the property. We're going to build rapport. We're going to determine the personality type, and then we're going to go back to the kitchen table and do the presentation. Okay, we got time for one more.
Okay. Sarah, she's having great success with a script, and she's booking lots of appointments, but the problem is they always end up canceling, and she can't get in touch with them. She does confirm that she books the appointments within 2 days of the call, and she feels like she's making her offer very clear and compelling. What do you suggest?
Well, obviously your prospects don't feel that way. If it happens once in a while, it wouldn't cause me to go back and tear things up, but it sounds like it's happening a lot. It sounds like you're booking appointments with buyers and sellers, and they're routinely not showing up. So here's some things you want to look at. Is first of all, you want to make the appointment as close to now as possible, because time is not our friend. The more time that elapses between right now when we book the appointment and the actual appointment, only bad things can happen. Well, what are the bad things that can happen? How about this? They just plain forget. Have you ever forgotten to go to an appointment? So sometimes they forget. Or here's some bad things that can happen. They go to work the next day and they say, oh yeah, I've got a real on Saturday. Oh, well, I've got a friend that's a realtor. My cousin's a realtor. So that's another reason they cancel is another realtor got in there before you. Okay, so we want to book that appointment as close to now. Another reason they don't show up is because they just said yes to you to get rid of you. How many of you have done that? Your telemarketer's on the phone, the telemarketer's kind of persistent, you're like, yeah, okay. Meet me Saturday morning and we'll talk about the new windows, and you know you're not even going to be home this weekend. All right, so they might be just saying yes to you to get rid of you. If your offer is not great, it's easily to forget, right? What if the offer was this? Okay, so Andrea, you're my buyer. Andrea, when you get to my office Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, I have a huge box of gold bricks, solid gold bricks for you. Now, would Andrea forget to show up to that appointment? No, because Andrea and everybody else in the world knows the value of a box of gold bricks. So when they don't show up, we've got a question, do they really understand the benefit of meeting with you? Was that crystal clear? Because if they really understood the benefit of meeting with you, they would be there. Just like the prospect would show up at my office to get the box of gold bricks. That's our job. We need to articulate this offer so it sounds valuable, like a box of gold bricks. Okay, so quite often the answer is they don't really understand the benefit that they're going to derive from actually showing up and honoring the appointment. Now, tomorrow we're going to do, for many of you, it's going to be your first ad clinic where we actually look at your ads. And Andrea is going to show everybody right now how you upload your ads. Many of you have done this. If you haven't yet and you would like me to critique your ads, Andrea is showing you right now how on the coaching site you can upload your ads. Now, will we get to everybody's ads? Probably not. What Andrea and I are going to do is we're going to look at all the ads that are submitted here today or have been submitted over the last few days, and we're going to pick a cross-section. We're going to pick some ads that are really good, and we're going to pick some ads that perhaps aren't that good, and we're going to show you how to make them better. So this is one of the biggest benefits of the coaching program is without the coaching program, you guys would waste all kinds of money on ads that either don't work or ads that could work a lot better. So I would recommend that you participate on the ad clinic webinar, the marketing clinic webinar tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. On the Pacific Coast. So I want to thank everybody for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed our role play. We'll look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow morning on our ad marketing clinic. Take care, and that concludes today's webinar.